But Johnny, let's move on into our final topic, and we're talking superhero fatigue. This is one we're taking from a back podcast. So about 2 weeks ago, we were going to do a podcast, but somebody, not going to name who, came down with an illness, and I was
somebody got the flu.
Yeah, couldn't find a replacement. I was like, you know what? We'll just put it off for a future time. Didn't want to do this one by myself. I wanted your input on it as well. We're talking about, will superhero fatigue ever set in? We just saw Black Panther this weekend. Yes. Review is live on the YouTube channel and Most Valuable Podcast and the Blog Talk Radio podcast services around the world. Wherever you listen to us, it is there. But will superhero fatigue ever set in? The reason why we're asking this question is in an interview with Vulture for Black Panther, Kevin Feige briefly touched on the subject of superhero movie fatigue while discussing his future at Marvel Studios beyond 2019 after Avengers 4 hits theater and concludes the MCU's first saga. Here's the quote that he had. For years, predating the history of Marvel Studios itself, people asked me about superhero fatigue and if it was a fad or a phase. I say, if they're all different, if they're all special, nobody will get tired of these things. Before we at Marvel Studios will, since we live and breathe these things 24 hours a day. You make films like Thor Ragnarok, like Homecoming, like Guardians of the Galaxy, certainly like Panther, and the upcoming Infinity War to keep interesting and change it up. And we will continue to do that. End quote. I think he's right. And the reason why I say that is how many Marvel movies now where go back and watch Iron Man, go back and watch Captain America, the First Avenger, go back and watch The Incredible Hulk. How different are those movies from what we see now? Vastly different. And I mean, even look at, I'm just going to use the last two Marvel movies we saw.
Yeah. Compare
Thor Ragnarok to Black Panther.
Vastly different.
Two completely different movies.
Yeah.
One was a complete comedy.
Yeah.
The other one was more of a...
It was a...
It was kind of like a traditional superhero movie,
yeah,
but it was very embedded with the politics of Wakanda.
Yes. Which was, again, another nice...
Oh, by the way, spoilers for Black Panther. There, I threw it out.
Oh, wow.
I said it before we got huge spoilers.
Huge spoilers.
No, I'm just saying, spoilers. If you haven't seen Black Panther, you probably should.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's vastly... even Marvel, even though, like, if you break it down to its root, you can see a lot of the same things with superhero movies, but everything's different. It's always different. And for this superhero fatigue thing, nonsense. I think it's nonsense, because anyone like you, honestly, anyone like you, like me, like Dave, anyone like our friend group like that...
is going to go see a superhero movie.
It's going to go see it until we A, die, or B, run out of money. Whichever one comes first.
Well, and here's the thing I think about, and I just popped in my head. It's because Marvel's making good movies.
They are.
And I put it this way. If every single superhero movie was like what we've seen from DC minus Wonder Woman, yeah, we would have superhero fatigue. Because
we probably would.
It would be like, oh my God, why are you coming out with another one of these movies? They're not even that good. Like, oh my God, why?
That's
feel
when
like
you're kind of pushing it a little bit.
Fatigue will set in when... Fatigue only sets in for me when you feel like it's a chore.
Yes.
When you feel like, just think of anything you love doing. Like, the way I do it is I relate it back to sports. Sometimes you'll hear the athlete go where it's like, yeah, you know what? Eventually, I just lost the love of the game. I just felt like I can't do, like... The example I think of, and I bring this up numerous times, for you, Johnny, because you're not a sports guy, I'll be really in-depth with it. There was a player for the Oakland Raiders, and he was playing a late game in December in Detroit.
Okay.
And he said, I know the exact moment where I decided to retire. He said it was week, 8 out of a 16, 17-week season. He's like, I woke up from my hotel room in Detroit, looked out at the snow, and said... what happened if I just don't show up to the game today? What would happen if I just didn't show up and I just went back to bed? He's like, that's the exact moment. He's like, this is the last season. This is when I have to hang it up. When it feels like a chore, like going to these superhero movies is a chore, then that's when fatigue sets in. But the way Marvel has it, none of these movies feel like a chore because of how good they are. And kind of going back to what Feige said, they're all like MCU's trying to keep it different, trying to not rehash what they did. Let's take what we did, make it better, and then expand off of that and do different things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you may have the same A plus B equals C formula, but I mean, one of them
and kill your villains.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill them all off. Kill them all except Loki.
He's the only one not to die, right?
I think so.
I mean,
and Vulture.
Oh, and Hela. And Hela didn't die, I don't think. We don't know. We're assuming she didn't.
About the same death as about the same certainty of death as Red Skull got.
True. We don't even know he could come back.
Exactly.
He could come back.
We just saw blue light. He's gone. We didn't see an actual death.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll give you that one. Those could come back. But I mean, really, what I'm looking at is like, look at the DC side.
Yeah.
Their movies have not been so hot.
Wonder Woman.
I see more fatigue on that side than the MCU side.
No, MCU's been hitting it strong, and they still are in phase 3.
Yeah. And going into their, like we mentioned in the last segment, their cosmic phase.
Yes.
Of everything. I remember way back, this was back Avengers, when the Avengers was coming out. I remember sitting down with Mark Webber talking about superhero movies, and Mark, you're listening, tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting this wrong in the comment section, or hit me up on Twitter or my cell phone. You guys, you have it. But I remember Mark saying something along the lines of, eventually we're going to get fatigued with this. Honestly, eventually there's going to be superhero movies where it's like, how many times can I see the same heroes doing the same thing? And he's like, eventually this is all going to go away. And what, we're looking 5 years later? Yeah, 5-6 years later, and we're still going strong.
Since the Avengers movie, or since this started?
The Avengers movie.
Okay, because let's see.
That was 2012.
Since it started, it's been over a decade.
Yeah, no, since it started, it's been a decade, but Avengers was 2012. So that's been about 6 years since Mark and I had that conversation.
Yeah. Because
you got to understand, I didn't know Mark when So Mark and I didn't know each other in 2007 when Iron Man came out. I was still in high school. We didn't meet until like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So this was 2 years after we had already been friends. That's we have the conversation. It was around that Avengers timeline of, hey, you know what? Look at what they just did. They built this team. They brought them together. First time we've ever seen it. Okay, what new things can they do?
Yeah.
Is it just going to be a rehashing? And that's why he was like, eventually we're probably going to get fatigued with superheroes. We haven't, and it's been 6 years.
What I'm thinking is, overall it's been 10 though. But
yeah, no, I'm talking about since that conversation.
6 years since that conversation. Overall, I would say that the only ways we're going to get fatigue is we start using like C, and when I say C rated, it's not because they're shitty superheroes. It's because that's their
the
well known. Yeah. I mean, since we're getting, and if this goes through, they buy out Fox. They've just hit a whole slew of superheroes we haven't seen with Marvel, with Disney Marvel. So we're gonna get a bunch more, and it's probably quite a few years more with those characters then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's not separate entities making these anymore. This is now MCU having everything except the Spider-Verse.
Well, like even go off after this, where I'm going to bring the TV shows into it as well. Back in 2007, go back to that time.
Okay.
Would you have said, this is before the MCU, before the superhero genre we know it as now? I'm going to throw out some heroes, and you tell me if you would have been excited to see either a movie or a TV show about them at that point before of what we know they would be. Jessica Jones. Black Widow. Hawkeye.
No.
What about a character like, now I'm really trying to think for it. Those were my big three, but like even Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Yes.
What about Daredevil? Those are a little bit bigger. That's
when did that first Daredevil movie come out? That was before.
That was like 2005.
Then no,
it was early 2000s.
Maybe at that time because it was like we didn't have a lot of them, and
we were just getting. We were just mourning. We were just mourning the movie.
I mean, maybe I would have been excited because maybe it's
2003, so I was 2 years off.
Because technically we did get a Daredevil one in 2003, so it's like...
Yeah, that was the...
at that time, it was good because it's like, oh, this is what we got. It wasn't that bad. Now that you have something to compare it to, it was bad.
One of the main things I will always remember with that movie, and will always link to that movie, is Evanescence Bring Me to Life. Wake me up.
Wake me up inside.
I can't wake up. Yeah, that will always be in my mind when it comes to that movie.
Yeah.
Because it was on the soundtrack. That's where I heard it. Can't wait for that movie. Like I love that song. But getting back to the whole fatigue thing in general is they're keeping it interesting. They're keeping us guessing. And even with you, they're adding Fox. They're now getting the X-Men hopefully getting the X-Men properties. I saw something.
And Fantastic Four.
We
always forget that.
I saw something that Comcast could be trying to bid in to
Comcast,
try to get.
Keep your grubby mitts out of this.
But
keep your grubby fucking mitts out of this.
I mean, that's more properties for them to do interesting things. And look at what they've done. I know I'm going back to this, but even like I look at Thor Ragnarok as the main example.
Yeah.
To where you come in and you go, hey, you know what? We walked out like that was amazing. Did not expect a comedy.
No, it was vastly different than anything we've seen with the Marvel Universe. And it was really good. Thank you, Waititi.
No, that's
Is that how you pronounce it?
Takawahiti.
Takawahiti.
Because actually I was just gonna look it up because I thought you were gonna talk a little longer.
Yeah, sorry.
The thing that I'm gonna see if I can find it right here on the podcast I was reading. I know I told Dave about it, which I'm trying to look for a good source that I want to go with here. I'm just gonna go up to the top one. So this is from AV Club. And the headline reads, Takawahiti cooks up a rom-com for Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that.
Would you, think back to 27, would you want to see a rom-com between Vision and Scarlet Witch before the MCU?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Before the MCU, I don't even Vision, Scarlet Witch, get it out of here.
I've heard of them. I don't know anything about them before the MCU. Now, I mean, that's part of what the movies do. When you don't know characters very well, it prompts you to read more into them.
Hell, even do this when Thor 1 was coming out.
Yes.
You weren't as Thor 1 was kind of like, oh, well, I've heard about Thor. I'm going to go see it, but I don't know a ton about Thor.
When we cosplayed, what was the what happened?
That was after the movie, though.
That was after the movie, but
yeah,
I still didn't know that much about Thor at the time. Like I hadn't been gone into my research of that yet. I'll automatically, Johnny, you're Thor. Thanks, guys.
You just looked like him.
I know. I looked like him the most. It's just like, thanks for no choice.
Yeah,
and I mean that's the reaction I had then. Now it's like, I'm working on my third Thor cosplay.
And even think about the movies we were getting.
Someday I'll get pictures up, maybe a year from now.
Think about the movies we were getting before the MCU, when we were kids. It was a lot of Batman, a lot of Superman.
We got
Wonder Woman wasn't even a thing.
Nope.
Green Lantern wasn't. Well, Green Lantern wasn't a thing mainly because of the CGI technology.
Yeah, that was something that was. Thank you for making fun of that in Deadpool.
I know that the whole, look at Deadpool. You couldn't do that.
No, not very well.
Let me put it this way. You could have done it raunchy style, 20 years ago in the 90s.
Yeah.
No one would have batted an eyelash to how raunchy it was and, how R-rated it was.
That's true.
Because let's be honest, the 90s was, I kind of think of the Attitude Era in wrestling, where that was kind of the rebellious time of our society with the suck it and everything like that.
What was a big type of music in that time? Punk.
Yeah. It was rebellious type
rebellious
music.
style music. A big band in that era was Nirvana.
Sum 41 too.
Yeah.
Sum 41. Of course, someone's gonna go like
Different-
It's not real punk, but whatever.
Different. I'm just saying, different ranges of punk.
Yeah.
I mean, were very prominent. And yeah, punk started more so in the '80s, but at the very end of the
like
'80s,
the Misfits. That's
exactly.
That's who I really think of when it comes to punk. But like, it kind of started with the grunge punk in the 80s.
That's the other
into
word. Grunge was
the
what I was
90s.
looking
That's
for.
when you say Nirvana. That's
grunge.
Grunge.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, but you think about Deadpool now, because of what we've had with the MCU has kind of paved the way
For everything else.
superhero movies in general. Because think about
most of them are paying attention.
I get
Not
it. That's a
everyone.
knock at DC. Ha ha ha. I forgot to laugh. However, the thing I was going to say about Deadpool is because of the now more casual people want to go see superhero movies because it's the thing, because they're actually good movies. Like, go back to our top movies for 2017 that were in the running for that award. Yeah, Logan won it. Superhero movie, by the way. Or no, did Logan win it?
Movie, yes.
Did it win our Best Picture?
Best Picture.
That's right. It was between that and Wonder Woman, I believe.
Yes.
Which, two superhero movies. You look at most of our top five, or not top five, I think it was like top six. Off the top of my head, Logan was in it. Wonder Woman was in it.
Spider-Man.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, Thor. That's what, five?
5 superhero movies.
5 of our best movies. And of course, like for us, people are going to say, guys, it's skewed. You guys go and see more of those nerdy movies. But the ones that were in our running for best movie, Logan, Guardians 2, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man Homecoming, Kingsman the Golden Circle, Thor Ragnarok, and Beauty and the Beast. Most of those are superhero movies.
Yeah.
And the lowest superhero movie we had for 2017 was Justice League. We both gave it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't bad, but it was low on our rankings. Whereas every other superhero movie was a 5.
Yeah.
Was a 5. Like Thor,
It's
Spider-Man.
low for a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm. And that's like where we're at, that they keep setting the bar. They set the bar and then they push the bar up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the guys that you see, like the chin-ups where they use their momentum to go up the next one.
That's
That's exactly what the superhero movies are doing. Is they're just climbing the next
That's what Marvel's
rung.
doing with them. They're pushing the envelope each time.
Like I was going to say with Deadpool, MCU sets the way. People want to go see it. Yeah, it's rated R, but how many people would have wanted to go see Deadpool? Like Deadpool's a popular hero, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But how many casual people would have wanted to go see it in the 90s?
Not nearly as many.
If it was in the 90s or in the early 2000s, let's say.
Not nearly as many.
No, not nearly
Just
as
people
all.
who are comic book fans of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even look at the Spider-Man Homecoming compared to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. And I know, Johnny, you're looking at it and you're going, well, that's because the Spider-Man Homecoming was an actual good movie. I know that's what you're thinking in your head. We have had discussions about this. The comment section is on my side.
Yep.
People generally agree. Dave is also one that's like, Johnny doesn't like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. It was the most true to the comics of any superhero movie we've seen. I get what you're going at. Because I mean, even look at the numbers, and I know this is unfair. This is unfair because it's a little inflation, but it proves a point too that it's not that bad of a movie because the budget for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was $139 million.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know how much it made in the box office? $821.7 million. Spider-Man Homecoming spent a little bit more than that, spent $175 million on its budget, reeled in $880.2 million. I'm going to take that little extra, $60 million extra, and contribute that to the rise of what superhero movies are now.
Yeah.
Like, not the best example because Spider-Man, the first one, wasn't a flop. Like, it made its money back tenfold. Whereas, but even this, like, new Spider-Man, even more money. Like even you know what? Screw it. Just for the sake of seeing where it went. 2012, The Amazing Spider-Man. That one was, is this the first one? Yeah, that's the first one.
The Amazing, yeah.
So Sony spent about $200 to $230 million.
Okay.
The biggest production of all three of these Spider-Man only made $757.9 million. Still a lot of money. Still made their money back, but it wasn't as successful as the other two. And that's kind of like, I take that however you want. However you want to take it, whether you think it relates, whether you think it doesn't relate, let us know. What are your final thoughts on this?
Honestly, I don't think superhero fatigue is really a thing right now. At least
do you think there will ever be a time that the superhero, I'm going to call, in this situation, I'm calling it a craze, but I know it's not a craze. Do you ever see a time where the superhero movies are done and we're just exhausted with anything that we can do and we're on to the next thing?
Very few ways I can see it happening. We run out of superheroes, like A and B list superheroes to use. And when I say that, I mean like people that we know about, or Marvel finally hits a wall, which I don't see that happening for a while. For a while, but the wall could be there because eventually it's someday.
What do we do with these characters that we haven't done before?
Yeah. I mean, it's the problem. That's the problem is like, well, here's the thing on that. Have you ever, before it came out, before you heard anything about it, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Okay.
Did you ever even hear them before?
No. Guardians of the Galaxy, never heard of them as a kid.
Nope. Never heard a thing about them. Didn't know anything about them.
Never did anything about Guardians of the Galaxy.
So, I mean, that's a way to get you into some characters you've never heard about before. Now look how popular they are.
True. The Rocket and Groot, Baby Groot's right here.
Exactly.
Like, they're massive.
Exactly.
I mean, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, like that helped catapult Chris Pratt.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's in Jurassic World. And of course, he was a big actor before that, but Star-Lord catapulted him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
This is where I want to turn on to you guys. Is Johnny taking off his headphones? I believe that means Johnny's done.
Cue. No.
However, Johnny's got to sit tight. We got to record it, even though it's out already. We got to record our Black Panther review. So go ahead, check that one out. I hope you guys like the podcast. Let us know what you guys think down below about anything we talked about today: superhero fatigue, Bucky Barnes becoming Cap or White Wolf, or the Incredible 2 trailer. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Little housekeeping here at the end. Number one, patreon.com/mostvaluedpodcast. That is where you help support us. If you want to help support us, $1 can get you an exclusive podcast each and every month, along with numerous other things that our patrons get over at patreon.com. Number two, go ahead and give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. It would really mean the world to us. Store link is in the description. That's where you can get your MVP t-shirt. Go check out mostvaluedpodcast.com. Bookmark it. That's where everything for MVP is going to be. Want to thank you guys for listening. Want to thank you guys for watching. And as always, have a good day, everybody.